So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome to my Apple iPhone 11 full review. Now, I've used this phone extensively already for about over a week, and I want to explain to you how this phone has treated me, what it's about, and if you should buy this device. Now, quick refresher, this does come in multiple colors. It does come in a purple, a green, a yellow, a white, a black, and a red. I happen to have the white version right here. And you can see it's going to start at $699, but you can trade it in for $399. And you can get it at 128 gigabytes for $749 or 256 gigabytes for $849. So let's get on with the body and the design of this phone. So you can see this is the white version. It does have aluminum edges around the device. You can see power button right here to the right and SIM card tray. You can see that the design of the camera is a little bit more flush than before. At the top, there is nothing. Off to that left side, you can see we do have our silent switch classic Apple, as well as volume rocker up and down, antenna bands right here. And on the front, it looks basically exactly like the iPhone XR. Now at the bottom, lightning port, and we do have a speaker grill right here. You can see off to the back side, the camera, dual camera now. So we have ourselves an extra 12 megapixel wide angle camera, and there's kind of like the square that goes around the camera lens right there. Now you can see no iPhone badge anymore. They brought the Apple logo down a little bit more, so I think it's a pretty clean look. Some people think it looks like an iPod, but overall I gotta say it's basically a refinement on the XR, a slight one, not a huge refinement on that phone. Overall, I gotta say, in terms of the body and the weight, I think it feels a little bit more comfortable to use than, say, the Pro Max, and maybe more of a balanced size between the smaller Pro, which might be too small for some people, and the Max, which might be too big and heavy. This sits right in the middle, and I think it's gonna be perfect for a lot of people. Now, this is the strongest glass ever as well on an iPhone, so you should expect this to be a little bit stronger if you do take a drop. However, I still would recommend throwing a case on this device. It's definitely going to be needed. And lastly, this phone is IP68 dust and water resistant, but keep in mind that's resistant, so I still don't recommend putting this phone, dunking it in water. It probably is not going to be a good idea, but if you get it a little bit wet in the rain, stuff like that, it should hold up just fine. While this might not be the most premium tier of iPhone out there right now, I think it strikes a beautiful balance of price and a good looking device that also feels relatively high quality here in the iPhone 11. So thumbs up overall. I really do like the design of the 11. I would like to see some updates next year, but you know, if you didn't get a XR, this one's even better than that one and you will enjoy it. Now, in terms of the durability of this device, it is aluminum, so it's a lighter material than the stainless steel, but I expect it to hold up very well. It might get a little, scratches or chips around the edge if you are a little bit reckless with your device, but the glass should hold up just fine, just like the 11 Pro. However, I do think the stainless steel is a little bit nicer on the Pro than this material right here. Durability of the XR has been excellent, so I don't expect anything different here for iPhone 11. And so far, it just feels like a really rock solid and well-made device. So that's kind of what we come to expect from Apple at this point. So when it comes to the display on the iPhone 11, first of all, this display gets plenty bright at 625 nits. Now, not quite as bright as the iPhone 11 Pro, but there's a nice range, so you will be comfortable with that. In addition to that, it also gets dark mode, and on LCD, it doesn't look quite as good as on an OLED panel like the Super Retina display, but it's just fine. And the True Tone is a really nice addition to this phone as well, which changes the color between like a warm and a cool color depending on your lighting environment. But if you like a more white display, you'll probably want to turn True Tone off. Now, this display also features haptic press, so you can just hold down on the icons and you kind of got something similar to a 3D touch feature, albeit a little bit slower than 3D touch in the past. But I think Apple realized it's probably not worth investing in that technology if most people are not even using that, besides, people really remember the 3D touches on that phone. Now, this does have 120 hertz touch sensing, so when you do open an application, it should feel very smooth upon opening that device. So yes, this is a very fast feeling phone. When you do open things, they feel very smooth and the gestures are ridiculously smooth on this display. Text appears to be plenty sharp, even though it's 326 ppi. It's not the highest resolution. It does get blown away by the 11 Pro, but only if you're comparing it side by side. Viewing angles are actually quite good on this IPS display, so you shouldn't have no trouble there. Overall, it just doesn't have that vibrancy, that pop that the 11 Pro has. It does have a very serviceable display that I think most people are going to be just fine with on the day-to-day. Now keep in mind with this display, because it's not the highest resolution, video is not going to look quite as good when you're watching a video as maybe like an iPhone 11 Pro, but you can still watch it in relatively high resolutions. It's just that it doesn't have that same vibrancy, that OLED feel. So this is not the best for media watching, the best. It's still really good, but it's not the best at that. In my final conclusion, this is definitely a shortcut that Apple takes with the iPhone 11 to get that price down, because a lot of phones in this price range do have higher res displays, but they did a good job at tuning, calibrating this display, making it plenty bright where most people won't really notice that they have a lower quality display. So overall, I think it's a pretty awesome display for the iPhone 11. So in terms of software, iOS 13.1.1, this phone was a little bit buggy when I first got it on 13, but the bugs have been pretty much worked out by now, and you can see that everything's pretty smooth on the phone at this point. So you shouldn't have too many crashes or anything like that. The iPhone 11 is performing very well right now. So I'm definitely liking that, and I think it's only going to get better as time does go on. Now in terms of new features, you get some new wallpapers, you get the dark mode, you get the new shortcuts built right into iOS 13 right here. You get the new Find My, which combines two applications, new improvements to Map, and many more features. We also have the new voice control feature. This phone just gets a lot of refinements over 12, which is a better software experience overall. We don't need to discuss this on and on and on. You know you're getting iOS. That's what you're buying this phone for, and the 11 is one of the best representations of that. Now, the biggest change you'll see in the software is the camera software, but we'll talk more about that in the camera section of this video. You can see the 0.5, and the way you can just change aspect ratios right there in the camera gives you a little bit of a different feel from prior iPhones. Now, when it comes to the performance, it is super silky smooth. This is a definite win for iPhone. Yes, some 90 hertz displays on Android phones are getting maybe even smoother than this, but for iPhone users, they expect smooth all the time, and you're getting it here for the iPhone 11. But not only that, with the A13, you're looking at a chipset that should go 4 to 5 years if you do decide to pick up this device. And really, while it doesn't feel too much different from the 10R or anything like that, apps, as they become more optimized with developer updates and things like that for iPhone 11, this is just a screaming performance phone right here. Even though it would seem like the standard iPhone of the bunch and the Pro may be a little faster, no, not really. They're all pretty much the same in performance, which is a big definite win for you guys if you want to save some money and get really strong performance. I haven't had no slowdowns since testing this phone. The only thing I had was a couple app crashes, which was fixed in 13.1.1 for this iPhone 11. So you can see right here, this is the base 64 gigabytes of storage. And for a lot of people, this is gonna be enough storage if they don't use their phone as everything, like they put everything on their phone. But if you do, this might run out relatively quickly, and then you're gonna have to pay $749 instead to just get the iPhone 11 with the 128 gigabytes, which I think is well worth the extra $50 if you can go for that. Okay, so when it comes to the cameras, it's got a dual 12 megapixel camera. One is an ultra wide angle at like 13 millimeters, and the other one is a 26 millimeter standard wide lens, f1.8. So pretty good background blur for your portraits in that camera. Now, when opening the camera up, you can see that we have the ability to punch wide right there in the software. If we go to portrait modes right here, if I hit the f-stops right here, I could change the f-stops in my portrait mode to get the amount of blur I want. If you go to the front-facing camera, 4K 60 frames per second, and you're probably noticing I'm filming on a phone that has basically the same camera that you're gonna get on this phone. So if you like the video quality you've seen in this video, thumbs up for that. And definitely you're gonna want the iPhone 11 if you love the video quality you've seen here in this video. So we also have panoramic modes as always. Photo mode right here, you can go up like this to change between 16:9 square and 4:3. Your filter effects right there. But you still have to go to settings to change the video resolution from 4K 24 to 4K 60. And whatever you put it on the rear, like 4K 30, 4K 60, will translate to the front facing camera as well. You can also do slow motion on the rear and slow motion on the front, which is pretty awesome, and a time lapse as always. So one of the best cameras you can get on a phone also exists on the iPhone 11. It's almost the same camera as the Pro, which is a really good thing for people who don't want to pay the Pro prices. You're still getting a, well, essentially Pro camera in your iPhone 11. Take a look at some samples I took with this phone. Let me know what you guys think of the quality. I think it's pretty impressive. Okay guys, so here is the iPhone 11. We are now walking with this in 4K 60, and the video quality to me looks a little bit better, just a little bit brighter, maybe a little bit more accurate with the colors. This is the iPhone 11's video quality. Okay, so here is some video quality of the leaves with the iPhone 11. You can kind of see how it does with the color, and the wind is blowing on them rather calmly right now. Let's take a look at these over here. It is starting to change seasons over here, as you can see on the ground, the leaves. But this is kind of how the 11 is going to look. Okay guys, so here's a quick video test in decent low lighting. You can see right there, there is the wide angle. Now when it comes to audio, Bluetooth 5.0, so this thing connects as fast as ever, but it also has very loud speakers here on this phone as well. We got all this stuff for use with iPhone. If you swipe up just a bit here on photos, if I cover the back, it does get muted a little bit, but it's still coming out the top. If I cover both, then you're gone. But when are you often going to do that? You're probably not. Night mode on this phone as well. And you can go ahead and hold down the record video, lock it there, or you can burst this way left now for the iPhone. So if we go to the front facing. So yeah, audio definitely going to be a win for iPhone 11. I think most people are going to be happy with it, and get you some AirPods and you're pretty much good to go in terms of a full audio experience. It also comes with headphones right in this box right here that go into the lightning port. So if you don't want to buy AirPods, you're good to go there as well. All right, guys. So when it comes to Face ID, it is definitely faster than before on the iPhone XR. But I can say that it's not quite as improved as Apple would have made you believe during the keynote. It is a little bit better. It does work from a few more angles, but you can still miss if you don't put your attention on Face ID. So battery on the iPhone 11 is rated at about 17 hours according to Apple. Music playback 65 hours. I'm actually getting better than those numbers would indicate. I'm actually getting a really long on-screen time as well. Like we're over 8 hours here on screen time. Sometimes a little bit under depending on how heavy I'm using this phone, but easily getting through a day. The other day I went out, I think it was Saturday with this phone. I was out all day. I came back. I was at 89%. I'm like, this is insane battery life. Now, granted, I wasn't using the phone all day during that day I was out. I was out and about doing things. But as you would probably imagine, when you're out and about doing stuff, you're not on your phone all day, but you're still using it constantly, maybe checking something on Google, opening your bank app, maybe taking a few photos here and there, checking, a destination. I use GPS. And I swear to you, from 8 in the morning to like 6 o'clock p.m., I had like 89, 90%. This is ridiculous standby and optimization. So battery life, you're going to be super happy with the iPhone 11. The 11 Pro is a little bit more, but is it $400 or $500 better? Definitely not. It's a couple hours better, but still, I think this is going to be plenty more than most people can even go through in a day. And lastly, let's not forget to mention phone call quality reception. Now, reception is actually worse on this phone than the iPhone 11 Pro, 11 Pro Max, because this has 2x2 MIMO versus 4x4 for the 11 Pros. However, I find that when I'm in my good reception areas, I have just as strong as reception as any other phone out there. But when I'm in my low reception areas, this is worse than Qualcomm phones. So this is not the best phone call quality out there. And if you find yourself to live in an area where you're constantly already struggling for signal on maybe an Android device that is known to have good signal, this one's going to be even worse, I believe. So not the best phone call reception out there, but the actual quality when you do have a phone call with good signal is fine. And also the speaker is pretty loud. So the actual experience of making a phone call is good. It's just that the reception can let you down from time to time. Okay, so is the iPhone 11 for you? Now, if you can get over the 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max and you just don't care for those, absolutely, this is the phone for you. If you don't need the dual camera, get the XR of last year, skip this one out, save you some money. But for the, what is it, like $100 more, $150 more for the iPhone 11 over the XR, why not just get the 11? You have a faster processor, better battery life by like an hour. You also are going to have a better camera. But like I say, if you don't need those little upgrades, you can consider them if they're little or not based on your own preferences and what you need, then the XR will be fine. But this phone right here is almost a Pro style device without the Pro display. and without the extra camera, because other than that, the experience is identical to that of the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max. And also, this display actually looks pretty similar to the iPad Pro's liquid retina display in terms of calibration, being an LCD. Also has aluminum body like the iPad Pro. So maybe Apple needs to upgrade the iPad Pro to be OLED Super Retina XDR display to be more of a Pro iPad. So you can see, based on this review, I'm basically pretty positive about this phone. And that's basically because, you know, $699 for this phone, and you're getting 90% of what this $999 iPhone 11 Pro gives you that I'm recording this video on right now. So anyway, what are your guys' thoughts on the iPhone 11? Are you picking one up? Are you skipping this one out? You just can't live with that display. You need more battery life in the Max, or you're just not getting any of these year's iPhones. Just let me know any questions, comments, concerns down below. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the review. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Subscribe if you haven't already. I will catch you all in the next episode, and peace.